All right, moving on to the next one. Describe the science of physiology. And again, we've got two words to dissect here. Science, which as I mentioned in an earlier short video, science means the study of. So we're studying something to understand it better. In this instance, the other word is physiology. And physiology, to put most simply, is function. What a specific structure does or how it does what it does. And usually this is aimed towards keeping us alive or maintaining conditions that are good for living things or good for the human body. So physiology is function. So the science of physiology, let's see, physiology is the study of the functions of the human body. That's putting it as simple as possible. You could put more detail into it and that sort of thing. Yeah, that was quick. Let's do the next one too, as long as we're here. Explain how the studies of form and function are interrelated. In other words, describe, oh no, we're looking at interrelationships. Yeah, let me just type it out. Explain how the studies of form and function are interrelated. So what does one have to do with the other? Some very simplistic, but if after stating these short statements, if you can really flesh them out in a paragraph or so, you'll have a really good grasp of this. Form follows function. And function follows form. In other words, form follows function. If a structure has a specific function that it has to perform, it will have a structure conducive to performing that function. And the converse of that is, if a structure has a specific structure, a specific form, we can figure out from just the form itself, usually, what that thing does, what its function is going to be. So these are very interrelated. And the example that I like to talk about for this almost every time, because it's so easy to get to, is the hand. And I can talk about the hand in terms of its anatomy only. So the hand, it has lots of bones, ligaments, tendons. Those tendons connect to muscles, some of them within the hand and some of them down in the forearm. There's nerves, of course, and then there's an outer layer of skin. There's adipose tissue underlying this anterior surface of the hand. Not as much adipose tissue on the back of the hand. What else? Could talk about the anatomy of the joints between the bones and that sort of thing. But notice that what I've really tried hard to do is only talk about structures, the parts that we have. Let me go even more simplistic. Digits. We've got 4 of these finger digits, and then 1 opposable digit that we call a thumb. And again, that's just anatomy. Now let's talk about physiology. The hand is good for grasping things. The hand is good for writing. The hands are good for playing the piano. More proximal to survival, the hand is good at getting food to your mouth. You can grab that food, you can put it in your mouth and let it go. The anatomy of the hand with its 5 digits, and especially with that opposable thumb, because that thumb can go across from the other digits, it really lets us grasp things and use tools and that sort of thing. So those are the functions. And because the fingers can move in the ways that they do, because of the ligaments and the muscles and the bones and their arrangement and the joints, we can play the piano, we can play the violin, or other things. So form follows function. The function of something gives you an idea of what it does. What something does gives you an idea of its form. I hope that helps the relationship between these two make sense to you. But by the way, as I go through these, I think that's number 4 of the whole one on the list. You don't want to just write down what I'm saying here. You want to look a little bit deeper into the book if you can and write down even more information. Get as detailed as you can in the study time that you have. And make sure you got lots of study time, because this class is intensive in those ways, in terms of the need for study time. But put it in your own words. And another trick for studying that I used years ago was to describe it to someone else. And if it makes sense to them and it follows and is rational, then you're probably on the right track. So anyway, I'm going to stop for this one, and I'll move on to another one here for another video.